Hey, it's Jess. Welcome back to my universe where I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. Today, I will be talking about my OC lore. This is partially because I want to participate with an art fight and I need character sheets, but also I need to put this out there somewhere so I can, remember it, so I, get these things drilled in my head. Anyway, a little additional context before I start explaining some other things. This story started when I made this little diorama of a room that I was like, what would my dream room look like? And I just made a character, and that character was Max Mariano, one of the main three for the story that takes place in the 2010s. Max is the son of one of the other main characters, Viviana, who is the mother of his sister, Riley. I know that was kind of a tongue twister, but I'm improvising here, and I don't want to write a script or anything. So, that's a part of their family. They also have their father, Daria, who's also the mayor, but anyway, I'm gonna explain. And there's also Sen, who is Max's best friend. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you the opening scene for this story. What I imagine to be the opening scene for this story. So, imagine this from the perspective that you're Max. Your sister just broke up with this friend group that she's been best friends with since, birth. And also, more importantly, her best friend that she's been through almost everything with. If you don't know about something, or if you know something, you already know that, her best friend knows about it. So, they've broken up. It's been really rough. She's been really sad and stuff. It's just, normal breakup stuff. So, your mom is like, you know what? It's been a hard week. I want to be here for you guys. Let's play some cards. Because, I don't know, they like playing cards together. It's a thing they do, and they're all like, yay, we're gonna play cards. And Sen's there too. So, they're all just like, they're gonna start playing cards, they're having fun, they're laughing and all that. Their mom's like, I'm so sorry you guys have really been going through it. I want to help you guys. So, the night of, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna try talking to your father about some stuff that has happened. I will let you guys know about what those stuff are, but some of the stuff that has happened, and I'm gonna talk to him. We're gonna set some things up because I know, Max, you have a problem. But I don't know. But she's being like, yeah, I'm gonna be here for you guys. I want to be the best that I can for you guys, because she's kind of realizing, yeah, I need to be a better mom or something like that. And she's not a bad person, guys. I want to make that clear. She's not a bad person. But anyway. She's like, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. And everyone's like, yeah, we're having a nice night. She says all these things, and she's like, okay, we're going to talk more about this in the morning before we go to school, so we can talk to your father all together. But next morning, your mom isn't there. So your dad's just like, yeah, she probably went to go on a little grocery shopping run. She probably went to go bleep bloop blop blurp. And you're just like, that's unusual, but, I'll call her throughout the day and all that. So, but she doesn't come back at all that day, and she doesn't come back the next day. Yeah, so that's when the main story starts. L'élément déclencheur, I don't know how to say that in English, the declenching moment, element. Can we have someone other than me who's bilingual tell me what that is in English, please? Okay, so starting off of the first character that I made, aka kind of our main character, Max Mariano. He's an avoidant, angsty teenager. He's 17 years old, and he doesn't have a great relationship with his father, because when he was younger, his father was just like, bro, you gotta be hyper masculine, you gotta do all these things that I like. He enrolled him in baseball, but he hated baseball. He just didn't like it. And then his dad was like, no, you suck at it. Dude, get better. And all that, so. But I also believe that his mom would definitely, help him get out of baseball practice and other stuff he didn't like. And, I mean, with her doing that, she would also be like, oh, please do this. Your father's gonna be so mad if you don't do this. So, kind of flip-flopping between the two. Between constantly just being like, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. I love you, and I bet your father's gonna forgive you. And please just wear this baseball cap for your father. But, he kind of just, followed whatever his dad said for a long time, and he felt super like sad and empty or whatever because he doesn't like any of these things, and he's not really allowed to explore the things that he actually likes. So he's kind of just like, bro, I'm so bored and sad, and I feel like I don't fit in anywhere. But then he looks at his friend Sen, his bestie, and he's like, you know what? She doesn't care about what other people think, and she is thriving, kind of. More on that later, but, like, she's super happy. And for context, she's, like, the town's or the school's tomboy, because it's the sort of place where, like, you go out and there's a 50% chance, maybe, no, I'd like to go even as far as a 90% chance. You go out to the gym, to the mall, to the convenience store, literally anywhere, and you're probably gonna run into, like, I need to find a name that isn't someone that I know. Arnold and his little boys. Arnold and the boys. You're gonna see them at the mall or whatever. You're gonna see them at the gas station. Okay, side rant. I feel like literally every single Monday or something, I hear about kids running into each other at, like, the mall or the gym, and I'm like, I'm so happy I don't live here. Anyway, back to my topic. But Max definitely is the sort of person who, like, rebels in small ways, sort of like how he started growing out his hair after, like, his dad being like, bro, your hair looks disgusting, it's so long. I feel like it's so funny whenever guys are like, oh, my hair's so long, and it's literally a buzz cut. I'm sorry, bro. Do you want to be bald? But anyway. He started rebelling in small ways, as in growing out his hair, going to baseball practice deliberately less and stuff, and he kind of just stopped trying and all that. And this obviously made his father mad. I feel like you can tell that his relationship with his dad is a huge part of his character, but, like, whatever. I'm gonna move on. I feel like I can talk about more of his relationship with his dad in his dad section. I'm not giving him a character sheet, though. Anyway. Max is also super close with his sister Riley because they're, like, the only ones who understand how annoying or, like, how horrible it is to deal with their parents and just, like, stuff like that. But also his best friend is Sun, who really inspires him to be a better person. They're also in a band that they use to promote their, like, to, like, spread awareness about their mom's disappearance. So, as you can see, Max is the guitarist, Sun is their bassist and vocalist, and Riley plays drums for them. But also during the story, Max kind of has to manage everyone and keep everyone in check because something happens with Sen, and all of a sudden his best friend isn't really being normal with him anymore, and Riley is going through it. I will give more detail on that in her section, but Max just ends up feeling really overwhelmed, and he's already not doing well. So obviously he turns to some other stuff to cope. He turns to his coping mechanisms. Also, to add to that, I have 2 outfits on their character sheets because one's their regular outfit, and one is the outfit that they wear on a night out when they're undercover in, like, this, like, bar place. It's not really like a bar, but it's just, like, a nice hangout place. And also, his sister dyed his hair. But his sister, like, styles them, and they end up having a lot of progress in their investigation. Now on to Riley Mariano, who's Max's sister, in case you don't understand. So, Riley Mariano recently broke up with her friend group. She's 16. She's supposed to be at the height of her popularity. Also, this speed paint's gonna look a little weird because I started on a smaller canvas, but then I was like, oh wait, I need to add space for her second outfit. Also, this whole thing started because I was like, okay, I have a new outfit for Riley. I want to draw, but I don't know what to draw. And also, I need to, like, put this reference for Riley. Her face looks a little weird, but I feel like you get it. Her face is supposed to look a little bit like Avril Lavigne. Like, that's kind of her face claim. Avril Lavigne mixed with, Taylor Momsen. But anyway, Riley is supposed to be at the height of her career, or, like, popularity or whatever. She's done so many pageants, probably more than she can count. She is one of the most popular and desirable girls in her school. She's best friends with some of the most popular kids in her school. She's pretty, she's talented, she's all these things, and yet somehow she still kind of like quote unquote fails. You see, around the like, okay, so you see, the reason why she broke up with her friend group was because of her behavior. She's just starting to get a little bored of how fake everyone is. How like everyone is so superficial and surface level, and she was just like, you know what, I want to know what you guys are really thinking. And also, she has an undiagnosed mood disorder, guys. So she's kind of just trying her best. Of course, she's not gonna be perfect. She's a 16-year-old trying her best to stay like stable and stuff. But anyway, with that, and also her kind of changing her style a bit and kind of experimenting more, it kind of makes her like a little more like, oh, should we really be hanging out with her? So then there's some sort of fight, and she's like, you know what, you guys are so fake. You guys are so fake and superficial. All you guys ever cared about was how popular it was, and the fact that my dad's the mayor. So they break up and all that. Another thing I think would contribute to her, with also her getting more into like alternative styles, is that she really likes doing DIY stuff. And if this were put more in like modern day, she'd definitely be anti-AI. Her friends would be like, ChatGPT's my best friend, and she's like, guys, stop using it. And they're all giving her dirty looks like, bro, what are you talking about? But anyway, if you don't know why AI is bad, literally search it up anywhere. But anyway, she's generally already kind of quote-unquote wild and crazy, but during the story, she has so much energy, she probably doesn't sleep at all. She sleeps way less. She has like all the energy in the world, and she devotes it all to finding her mom. Because more context and lore, her mom and her were like kind of fighting at the before this, until her mom was like, you know what, things have been rough. You broke up with your friend group, and we've been fighting a lot. So let's just play cards and let's have fun and unwind from a long week. And she was finally getting along with her mom again. And her mom, she's not a bad mom, like, on purpose. She isn't trying to be a bad person. It's just circumstances that I will explain later. So, I think that throughout the story, she will start to sympathize with her mom. I think Riley is also a person who's kind of really outspoken and stuff. I think she was already, like, fitted in the mold that her father Dario already had for her, but she's a little too outspoken for him. And also, since she did pageants and stuff, he was definitely like micromanaging her growing up, which really bothered her. But anyway, on to Sen. I don't know how to pronounce the rest of her name. I probably should search up how to pronounce my own character's name, but why is there just a blank screen for now? Anyway, but Sen is basically the adoptive child of the Marianos. She's spent like basically her entire childhood at their house and stuff, because her parents are really, like, they're business people. They would rather be at work than at home. And also, a little context for her character. I think I've mentioned this before. Her mom was in a different relationship when she had her. She was like, you know what, maybe if I have a kid, our relationship is gonna get better. But guess what? It didn't. And they broke up. So now she's with a different person, and Sen feels so out of place in her own house. So she spends a lot of time at the Marianos, because not only are her parents at work a lot, but she doesn't really feel like she belongs in her family, and also she doesn't like being home alone. But anyway, Sen has been the token tomboy. So she's been picked on. She's been like, oh, wait, is that a boy or a girl? Many times at this point, probably when she can count, and she doesn't care anymore. Sen has a very strong sense of self, which is probably influenced by the kind of, like, music people she's influenced by. She probably lives by the quote, that one quote by Kurt Cobain, I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. I might be saying that wrong, but it's whatever. Anyway, Sen is best friends with Max. I think that they spend a lot of time, like, skating or playing games or doing some dumb stuff, some dumb teenage stuff. They work together at a local music store, mostly because they don't want to work at their local fast food place with literally everyone else from their school. So they decided, you know what, maybe it's worth the commute. to work at a music store where they can probably get like strings and stuff or mics, like stuff on a discount, stuff that they actually care about on a discount, and like they probably wouldn't mind working there for a long time. She's also like one of Max's biggest influences for who he wants to be, because Sen just has such like a grounded, or like I don't know what the word is, but she has such a strong sense of self that like either everyone hates her for it, for being so stubborn and stuff, or they're like, oh, I love you. She definitely gives off the same vibes as tough Beifong, but anyway, I think she definitely ties a bit of her self-worth to how much she can help people, aka mostly Max. So she tries not to like be too vulnerable with him, because then she feels like she'll be a burden to him. But anyway, during the story, she is kind of running along with Riley, honestly. At first, she tries her best to like do her research and do all the things that you're supposed to, but then there's a little interview that she does, and there's a switch. I'm not saying what happens right now, but something happens, and now she just can't like be around Max anymore the same way, and she just kind of avoids him stuff. But she kind of gets crazier and a little more impulsive. So then Max is like, bro, I double have to either be worried about my best friend and my sister, bro. And I think there would definitely be a confrontation during their little like investigation outing thingy to that little hangout place, bar place. But usually she isn't as impulsive. She's generally a pretty calm person, but like whenever she does prioritize having fun over a lot of things. She'd rather look back on something and be like, hey, I learned something, and I really want to know what would happen if I did X, rather than, oh, I wonder what would happen if I did X, like that sort of thing. So she wants to live a life with no regrets. She's also usually not this avoidant and not like this jumpy and stuff, but she also, after like what happens, she also like kind of like gets really jumpy a lot. I'm so sorry for my chair creaking, but also like whenever she gets scared, she just can't talk anymore. Like all of a sudden she just freezes up and she just can't talk anymore. And I think Max would notice that and be like, hey, I can help you if you tell me what I can do to help you. But then she's like, no, it avoids him. This isn't funny, guys, but she really likes nature and stuff, and yeah, that's her. Okay, so the next character, he isn't one of the main characters, but he is just as equally important, I think. He is Harvey McConan. Previously, Sam, he didn't have a last name before, but I picked his name because it just, like, I really like the name Harvey. I low-key kind of forgot the meaning of the name, but I'm pretty sure McConan means, like, leader or something. It's Ethiopian. Might change it to a Congolese last name because that's something I'm more familiar with. But a little thing about him, also my window's open, but a little thing about him is that he is the pastor's son and also a former like wild child. So there's still stories about him that echo through the halls of their town's high school. So our main cast, Max, Riley, Sen, have definitely heard about him. So when they meet him, which is when they're starting their investigation and they're trying to find more things out, and they find out, oh, the pastor's son's back, they know, oh, this is like a big deal, because probably for years the pastor might have done like a few, what are they called, sermons about, oh, the prodigal son returns, and been like, my son's gonna return, I miss him, like that sort of thing. So he returns, but like his energy's different. He isn't as crazy, he isn't as wild, which like they're all like, oh, thank God he isn't as crazy as he used to be, but like he's crazy in a different way, in the way where, like, he's literally calling them, like, liars and blasphemers and all these things, and everyone's just like, oh, dude, guys, the pastor's son's saying all these things, and everyone's, like, freaking out, because guess what? You wanna know what their church is actually doing? Okay, guys, just to make this clear, I don't hate religion. I am a Christian. The only reason why I'm doing this is to actually show, hey, now religion is good religion. I mean, how many times are we going to hear, like, horrible stories from people who left, like, bad churches until certain people realize that things with the purest intentions can be twisted into something horrible. But anyway, Harvey is in a band. He's going on tour with his band soon, so he just decided to move back in for a little bit because his lease on his apartment's probably up and all that, so he's just here for a bit. But before he goes, he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna stay with my dad for a while. And, well, he finds out that they're not really preaching the truth. They're kind of using the word to weaponize it against people and all that sort of stuff, so he's kind of mad about that. And of course, because Max, Riley, and Sen, they're doing their little investigation, they're like, wait, we should totally ask him some stuff. Because guess what? They also find him at their concert at a gig. I'm not gonna say that it was just their band. It was probably like with a bunch of other bands, because the only like gig out quote unquote outside of school that I've ever done was still with like a bunch of other people. So I know that's what most like younger people get. But anyway, they see him in full-on punk attire, and they're like, what? Wait, we have to investigate him. There's no way this is normal. So not only are they investigating him because he's like the black sheep of the entire town or something, but also because, dude, my finger just like cracked. But also because, dude, why are you in full-on punk attire at night when I'm pretty sure there's a Bible study going on 30 minutes from here at your dad's church? But anyway, but other than that, I'm thinking that for Harvey's story, he had a little like turning away, starting to resent like religion in general, and then had a little Paul and the way to Tarsus thing, where he was like, wait, this low-key might be the truth, guys. This I think this might be the truth. So yeah, now he's in like a Christian alternative band, and he's just having fun and discovering more and learning more. And then when he gets back to his hometown, he's like, okay, maybe I'll check out their church. Maybe for the first time I actually feel like I belong there. And guess what, guys? Guess what? When he gets back there, oh, they're saying like all sorts of stuff that's like canonically not right, and just like on a regular human level kind of weird. But on another thing that I said earlier, he does end up helping them find out more about Viviana's disappearance, because they used to hang out at the place. I don't really know what it's supposed to be, but he introduced her to a lot of music and stuff like that. So yeah. But anyway, before I end off with Viviana, I'm going to talk about Sarah Rosenthal, Riley's ex-best friend, and I'm also going to be talking about Riley's dad, like Max and Riley's dad, because he's like kind of the other center point of this story. Riley and Sarah grew up doing pageants together, which is how they met, and also what kind of forced them together. They both grew up like kind of trying to embody this ideal thing of a woman, because Dario was just like, hey, you have to be peak femininity, and you know, Sarah and her parents, mostly because of her parents being like, hey, we love you, Dario, we'll do almost anything you say. So they're just like, okay, Dario, let's put our daughter in pageants and low-key kind of mistreat her. So they did so, and kind of had to make them go against each other, but also kind of brought them together, because no one else is going to understand that pain other than another pageant queen or pageant kid or whatever. But they grew up together doing that, and they kind of got forced into wanting to be this ideal thing. Sarah kind of just thrived on not being her true self and just always having this image right in front of her, but Riley ended up getting tired of it. It was just like, you know what, if we're all just gonna pretend and be fake, I kind of don't want to be a part of this friend group. So they broke up. Another thing about Sarah is that she's adopted, and she was probably adopted because they're like, hey, let's all be charitable and do things we don't want to do. So then her parents adopted a kid that they didn't want because they were told to. It's also because they're like, hey, they were told to do this. They also kind of made her cut ties. Well, like, it's not like she knew about it. She was a baby when this happened. They kind of, like, cut all her possible chances and ties to ever knowing, like, her real parents or her past, and she kind of just has that problem of just not knowing who she really is. But hey, there's this ideal, perfected image that I'm supposed to be chasing after and that I'm supposed to be keeping up, so that should make me happy, right? But she's not happy, guys. So someone who, like, really she attaches herself to in order to kind of find herself, quote unquote find herself or whatever, is Dario. Now, I'm still not sure if I want Dario to be the mayor or not. He might end up being a police captain, but for now, I guess he's the mayor. He has a lot of influence in their town, which, like, that more aligns with the mayor. He has a lot of influence in this town, so a lot of people look up to him, not just in the town, but also in their church. So the pastors look up to him, and literally everyone's just like, hey, Dad, why can't you be like him? Like, that sort of thing. Like, he's probably, like, a soccer coach, too. Actually, no, baseball coach. We were talking about baseball earlier, so maybe soccer and baseball, because I feel like in Canada, soccer's really big. Maybe it's just where I am. But anyway, not only because of the fact that Dario has probably gotten her, like, some modeling gigs and stuff, but also because he's the appointed guidance guy. She kind of starts looking up to him a little more, and this little, like, admiration gets taken advantage of when his wife, not so accidentally, goes missing. Is it his fault? If you think it is, then it probably is. If you think that it's not, then it's probably him. Because either way, he has the power to, like, influence the headlines and all that. So she actually has a role in this. And Sarah feels so guilty because this is, like, her best friend's mom. Sure, they might not be best friends, but, like, that's, like, Riley's, like, her other half, bro. Like, they know everything about each other. They know the real each other's. Does that even make sense? So Sarah's just, like, torn up with guilt the entire time during the story. But I feel like she'd end up, like, changing sides, but she's also super scared of Dario. Dario also uses her for, like, information on his kids and other stuff, information about people that he may not have, like, direct access to, so he can, like, still be in control of everything, because that's just the kind of guy that he is. He's gross, guys. And he's a horrible husband to Viviana, who I will be getting to in a minute. Other than that, Sarah is, like, the most popular girl. She's always put together, so she always has her hair done, she always has accessories done, like, you could literally go to her house out of nowhere, and you'd still find her, like, all dressed up. Anyway, on to our last character, Viviana Mariano, who is unfortunately married to Dario Mariano. Anyway, they meet at a low point in Viviana's life when she's, like, really struggling, and he was like, you know, I can fix you. FNAF reference? Sorry. But he ends up being like, yeah, I can fix you. And she's like, you know what, sure. I literally don't know what else to do. So she goes along with it. This ends up being the worst decision of her life. So for the next, like, 20 years, he has her wrapped around her finger and stuff. You got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Sorry. Everything's a song reference if you think about it hard enough, guys. Anyway, this is not a laughing matter. Okay, lock in, guys. So, she ends up having her 2 kids, whom she loves. She loves her kids. But, like, if she could redo her life, she probably wouldn't have had them that young. She probably wouldn't have, had them with Dario at all. Dario promises that he can fix her because she's always had this thing holding her back from being normal, and she's always just been like, I want to be normal, I want to be normal, I want to be pretty, and I want to be normal, and I want to be happy, but she just has this thing that's holding her back. Possibly, mental disorder or something, possibly disability, possibly, I don't know, I'm throwing ideas at the wall. I have a wall in front of me, isn't that so funny? But anyway, what ends up being, like, the quote-unquote end of the relationship is, when she kind of is like, okay, my kids are getting worse, and my husband, my lovely, not-so-lovely husband, said that he'd fix stuff, but it's been time and time again that my daughter is I see the same patterns that I've had in my in her adolescence. I was looking for the word, that word, that I've seen in my adolescence, in my daughter, and I can't watch this anymore. So she's basically just keeps on going up to Dario being like, hey, these kids need your help. And then he's like, no, they're fine. Or just says like, yeah, I'll do something about it, then never does anything about it. So then, like, one night, there's two different instances where she runs away for kids. Once during a summer, like when Max was probably like late elementary, which like, or for Americans, middle school, so like late elementary or middle school or whatever, she ends up running away for kids because Sun's parents were away on a business trip, so she's responsible for her anyway. And the rest of her kids, she was like responsible for, like, those are her kids, she birthed those two. So she decides to go to like this motel or something, and they have like the best summer ever. Like during the story, they reference this story pretty consistently, being like, that was the best summer ever. We were all super united, we had no Dario in our life to ruin everything. But this ends up getting ruined when Dario's like, dude, I forgot about you guys, and I was like probably doing something really horrible while you were gone, but like, come on, those were my kids. Like, probably only doing that for the act of, those were my kids, because Dario is literally the worst person ever. He's the reason. Okay, no spoilers, guys. And watch me never do anything with the story and say no spoilers. Kidding, I will. But she ends up running away with them. Then she has to come back because either something financial, or she just realizes, you know what, he's just a man, something like that. So she goes back. Then again, which is like right before the story starts, she's like, you know what, these kids need my help. I need to step up as a mom. We've had some hard times, and I just can't look at my son be so sad and horribly sad and just all this. So she makes a plan, and Dario finds out, and he's like, what are you doing? And she goes missing. Then she goes missing. But like, other than that, I'm so sorry, I can't keep my thoughts straight. But other than that, her relationship with her daughter was probably worse than with Max, because she's really scared of Dario, so she was like, please do this. Like, she probably came off as overbearing and stuff, and probably annoying, but she really did have the best intentions. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I still have to make my artfight account, which I think I'm gonna make after exams. I only have 2 exams this year. I'm so happy. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope that this at least gave you a little more context on my OCs, but it was probably a little confusing. I'll probably come up with a better video one day, but